I thought, why not bring in some of Draught's soundtrack, man? Draught's got a rockin' soundtrack. Even if I want to play Why Do They Build Robots, because I remember that I own the Real Texas soundtrack, actually. Man, I should buy more soundtracks and download them and put them in the little archive so I can always reference them with the songs I like. Do I own Slarp's soundtrack? I should really own Slarp's soundtrack. Oh my god, that makes so little sense if I don't. It makes no sense if I don't. Because I actually really like that soundtrack. No. I mean, it's on band, whatever, so getting them is a pain. CD, I can get them on CD. You mean that fucking format that no one has? So where were we? With our glorious Chapter 8, where were we? Gosh, where were we? That's a really good question. I think Anon just told Mrs. Aaron about... Oh, this is a great song for that. Life in a Cloud from Drop the Second Sky. I think that's Volume 5. Of the Deadly Music of Death. Okay, there's a very specific song I want to play. No. Ooh, no, this is a good one, though. I like the beat in this. Like, why... Draught has such a weird combination of assets. It's fantastic. It perfectly captures the vibe of everyone cares, but no one is on the same wavelength. Oh, I mean, they're on the same wavelength in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? So, Mrs. Aaron began as she climbed in and closed the door of the car. So, I echoed, lingering on the word. Yeah, that's implied by your ellipses, my man. I couldn't help but squirm a little in the passenger side seat. I definitely had not anticipated her suggestion, oh, it really was more of a demand, that we come back with her to her house. Sure, technically it was Fang's house too, but did the status quo of that change after she died, or after she killed a bunch of... I just feel that if you die after committing murder and you get disowned, you don't just get to go home after you come back to life. I just feel like there's some nuances there we need to keep in mind. The Terror Matriarch seemed unbothered by the idea, at least. But that was going to put us, rather me, directly within the line of sight and reach of Chief Commissioner Ripley Aaron himself. He didn't like me even before prom, and given everything that happened between now and then, I couldn't imagine his opinion had improved since. But Mrs. Aaron was insistent. At any rate, after both her thorough breakdown at Moe's and Fang's own pleading that we go, I couldn't really say no. Let out a small sigh and turned to look at the pair in this backseat. Fang, you can sit in a car? I'm being pedantic, okay? I mean, I'm happy she got to reconnect with her mom and everything. But I couldn't help but shake the sense of foreboding that her luck was beginning to run out. Was gonna run out soon. Or maybe it's because for as burnt out as I felt inside, even emotional exhaustion couldn't counteract my primordial fear of Fang's dad. My dad. It was slightly awful to think, but I was sort of happy that she looked about as uncomfortable as I was. At least I wasn't alone in the feeling. Thank you for accepting my invitation, Anon. She turned over the ignition, and before I knew it... Is that what you call it? I thought you used to say you turned the ignition. I genuinely do not know. This is one of those situations where my English is a bit... Because I'm not a native speaker, so... I've only heard these things in fairly specific contexts. Hold on, I have to post a pensive cowboy at someone. It's very important. And before we knew it, we were on our way down the roads towards their place. It's much more of a leisurely pace than the taxi I would charter on NASA's own driving. I wonder what happened to NASA's car. Did they keep it? Did they sell it? I mean, it has a bullet hole in it. I don't think they're going to sell it that well. My curiosity itched, but I knew better than to ask. It was hardly important to know anyways. And not something you nagged a grieving parent about anyway. I might be a grade A moron, but I'm not that stupid. It's fine. Between you asking and Fang wanting to go, I wasn't about to say no. With nothing really to say, she simply nodded. Took several minutes before Fang spoke up. So, what's our plan with Dad then? I'm not sure, I answered back, uncertainty plain in my voice as I kept my gaze fixed ahead. This is called Fortran? Is this a song that plays when you're like, I want to quit the game? It's like, have you considered buying the game? I mean, I like Grinding Teeth, but it's just not a song I'm riveted about when it starts playing, you know? Like, it plays in those dungeony places, and it just reminds me of Gentry Eye. Oh, those chainy boys. I'm not sure. What was that? Mrs. Aaron asked, briefly flickering attention over to me. I let shotgun shook my head. God, we really need to figure out some kind of communication thing, like holding my hand up or something? Fang was asking what the plan was with Mr. Aaron. Mrs. Aaron's face rolled into a slight frown as she considered. Ripley has not been doing especially well. Not that that's a surprise, I'm sure, but since the funeral he just kind of stopped eating. Because we know apparently he's like really messed up. Like he nosedived. Which admittedly, I like to imagine that the creators are like, no, he stays big and strong because we can't afford differences. I feel like a lot of people who write fiction, especially for visual novels with limited fashion sense, it's a very common thing to underestimate just how much people actually change clothes. I mean, it doesn't account for me because I'm a cartoon character, but you know. She began as her voice trailed off, her gaze drifting back to the... Yeah, thank you. I would prefer not to die in a traffic accident. What? I relayed the question to the matriarch at the helm of the car. What do you mean helm? It's not a fucking boat. Well, he would certainly feel better hearing your back, Fang. Mrs. Aaron curtly replied, keeping her eyes locked on the road. The way she just said that caused my brows to raise in surprise. There was a subtle bluntness to her words. The words spoken were a deflection, clearly, but that tone was also a statement that there would be nothing further said on the matter now. I shot a glance back at Fang, who returned one similar to mine, one that pretty much just said, yeah, I doubt that. Both of me would agree to try and see other halves, or in for a penny, in for a pound, or whatever. Worst case scenario, he mauls and yeah, let's not say that further. The rest of the trip occurred in silence, which did nothing to help my nerves. As we arrived at our destination, she pulled into the drive and parked the car. This is completely irrelevant. I'm gonna tell you this. It doesn't matter. Here's a fun tip, right? Don't ever write that someone is breathing. Only write that they stopped breathing. Because if you start writing... write the details that are noticeable, not the shit that you expect to happen. Unless it's intentional, you know, unless there's a certain element to it. Like if Anon is mentally trying to delay the moment and push it into the future by thinking really hard. If my death was imminent, hopefully it would at least be swift. Getting out, I expected to see the police cruiser Mr. Aaron must have had on the other side of the garage, but found the space occupied. Listen, here's... Why is Narcis's car here? Oh, I mean, I guess he would have driven it to school, but they probably could have driven it back. They had enough time. So I'm like, okay, listen, you might be able to extend thoughts if you're trying to imply that Anon is taking his time. You can do that by just having Anon take his fucking time. Don't do mental actions where physical actions speak louder. You're writing a book, you coward. Have some guts. It looks exactly as I remembered seeing it last. I mean, no one shot it. It's probably a little dusty, but... a sporty little thing covered in dents and dings. Exactly as it, except it was missing its driver. Yes, a lot of cars tend to spend most of their lives missing their driver. Did you know? Shit. You know? From a view away from the artifact, blah, 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 blah. It's Mom. She couldn't look in the direction of his car. I mean, this is an interesting way to... some people. Sorry, I have responsibilities. I'm gonna... You can look at the car. I know what you're going for here, but I think that you're overwriting this. Okay, cool. No, we're not sticking on the point. We are moving on. Damn. It was dim with the curtains drawn. I've been here a few times now, but this time it felt changed. You know, because there's no fucking light. I feel like having your curtains drawn dramatically alters the atmosphere of any room. Do you ever do it simultaneously hard to pin down, yet unpleasantly easy to place? Man, I love how long draw sounds are, because they are puzzle games. You're sitting there for hours, so... Spokes on a wheel. Oh, this is a nice one. I like this one. It's got a nice jaunt to it. This plays in, I think, the Desert tile set. Would I be the kind of person to write drawed fanfiction? Yes. But I feel like the setting is so esoteric, you kind of have to in for a penny, in for a pound, and I'm not like that. As much as I introduce magic and everything, I don't know if I could write for a setting like that. Although it has a certain charm, I guess. I like the idea of how Smite Masters work. Like, it's literally, there are dungeons and there are dragons, but the dungeons are made by people, intentionally so. It's great. It's fucking great. So there's no wizard, though. It's just a whole giant empire. Which I kind of like. Like, an empire like that would naturally manifest over time, considering what happens every couple of thousand years. Like, that's just how evolution works. There may have been proto-empires or prior empires, but this is the one that made it to the end. Where were we? And it was the place reminded me of a dim, dingy shitbox of an apartment and not a bustling family household. It reminded you when you have your curtains drawn, I imagine. Not plausible, it was attributing extremely them to the living room. Quick glance with my tarot partner, we did it's the same. How could you go Ripley, make yourself comfortable? He's home? You want to be like at the station right now? Oh, because a small and a shake of her head. That's never good. That's never good when that's the kind of answer you get from someone like her. It's not even a word, right? Hold on. The verbal back and forth. Man. Who needs people, right? When you can have shit-ass memes to fill your life with. I'm looking for one in specific. It's one that I really like, which is... God, I just love that stupid dog one where he just flies off and then bonks the guy in the face. Where is it? Man, I have too many... There it is. Alright. So yeah. Let's see, my lone recliner was empty. It's not a good sign when the guy who's known as being a bit of a... I mean, is he known as a workaholic or a stickler? I feel like Ripley's actual relationship to his job is not all that well explored, all things considered. But you know, it's very telling considering how much in America that stuff defines you as a person. God. No! Don't open Notepad++. I'm having fun here, okay? Because this is going to be very emotional. I mean, here's the problem I have with this scene, right? If we think about this in context, what is the point? The point is that it's going to be difficult for Fang to talk to her dad. The dad! But more importantly, if you give your brain a little think, right? The real problem is that Anon is afraid of Fang's dad. So really what the scene should be is Anon realizes that Fang's dad is not a threat. Everyone sort of realizes that, like, we establish how much Fang's dad is interested in the whole ghost exists story. And then finally, whatever he believes or not, we resolve it. This should be a very straightforward scene. We're already in the building. A light taps telling me Mrs. Aaron was returning. I'd like to stand there. Make yourself comfortable. Stop standing around like you're here to deliver the bad news, Anon. He's already dead. Good to see Ripley. Focus on one thing at a time. Now, if you're smart, you'll know that what you're supposed to say is focus on one penis at a time. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Stiffly walk over and sunk into the cushions. Finally, a good fucking seat. My bed's so garbage comparatively. Mrs. Aaron headed into the kitchen, sound of her rummaging around, following soon after. Man, I could kill for a cookie right about now. Calm everyone down. That's such a weird thing to say, but it's like her, you, and Ripley. It's not really a calm everyone down situation. Don't think it hurts at least. You know, extra cookie from... You know, it wouldn't hurt if I had some sugar in my system when I start running. Not before I could come back, I heard heavier thuds from the upper hallway. Oh yeah, Anon's out of his crutches, right? Because he's already healed in this one in that regard. Ones that could only belong to one person. In the other one, yeah, another one that got fucked up. And like Trish decided to commit murder in the most hilariously inefficient and ineffective way possible. It's like, I get it, you want to get your revenge, but could you at least try? Man, these people are weird. He was coming. That's a good thing to put on a new line, just completely by itself. Maybe make it italics just to indicate that this is like Anon's big thing of the hour. Just a little bit straighter. Fang frowned as her head lowered, almost preemptively accusing the stairs of some wrongdoings. Before they even presented her dad. He was hoping she wouldn't flip out and make him bear the brunt of another single-person audience tirade. Yeah, that's gotta suck, man. It's like they can't even hear you. Fortunately for the both of us, as soon as he properly came into any thoughts that I quickly died out. That was Ripley Aaron. His height made him notionally as intimidating as ever, especially with him staring down into the living room. Of course, the Ripley Aaron I remember borderline shitting my pants over was solidly taller than me, crest excluded. But even beyond that, he was significantly broader. His arms thicker than my legs and sleeves rolled up to show him off on a gut that could only as a feint for how built of a guy he was. The man was as massive as a mountain, say nothing of the intimidating as hell facial scars, the prominently toothy sneer, and the accusatory glare he bore as he bowled around out of the package. That was what I saw at the top of the stairs. What I saw was a husk. I almost couldn't believe my eyes. That was him? This is him now? Why is it past tense? If Mrs. Aaron got an instinctual reaction from me at seeing how rough he looked, this must have been much, much worse. Oh, how rough she looked. Okay. Gone was the semi-professional suspenders and dress shirt attire. I mean, he didn't look that professional. He looked casual, but on the off hours. I kind of like the big part of the singing modular. The singing modular. Modular? Hope he releases a new video. It's always great. I was swapped out for a basic black t-shirt and sweatpants. He see his sweatpants, man, though. Even then, I wasn't a doctor by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't hard to tell that he had lost weight. A lot of it. The massive arm, the powerful guts, all of it had wasted away by a noticeable amount. I mean, the arms imply that he just hasn't been exercising. The gut implies that he actually hasn't been eating. What was worse was his face. His gnarled expression was gone. In its place was one I recognized entirely by how many times since the shooting I felt it on my own face. The practically ever caught replaced by hollowed, borderline soulless eyes. Even with his deep-colored scales, I could make out dark circles under his eyes. He must have just climbed out of bed at his wife's insistence. Oh shit, he's a bed guy? Damn. Shit sucks. A niggling bit of curiosity in the back of my mind wanted me to turn and see how Fang was reacting, as I hadn't heard or felt her shift at all. But any plan to do so was blown away as the man at the top of the stairs took notice of me. Ah, it was that sad to blame me for everything wrong in the world that I so remembered. Good, great, wonderful! What are you doing here? It was honestly impressive how he could ask a question with almost no extra stress or intonation. Likely because of how exhausted he looked. It still made me want to shit my pants, apologize, and quickly flee out the front door. I really, really hate how Bad Apple is like Anon is traumatized, and I'm like, you're not displaying him as all that traumatized. What the I like this part so much. The song is so nice for like an ending or like a denouement of something. All right. Oh. Ripley, dear? Those are able to break eye contact with the man, drawing my attention to the smaller Taro poking her head out from the kitchen. Why is he here, Sam? He flatly asked once more, now in his wife's direction. I invited him, dear. That doesn't answer the question of why, he growled. Anon called and wanted to catch up a little, so we met over at Moe's for lunch. We got to talking about, well, it was nice to talk to one of Lucy and Nasa's friends again. After all, we hadn't heard from any of their schoolmates since the funeral. And, well, it was good to socialize a little. I figured talking to him some more may be nice to hear, so I invited him over for dinner. For dinner? He reiterated as a half statement, half question. His glare... By the way, I know that I omitted this, but this is actually like a decent interlude to do. This is a useful detail to have because we need to know how she's doing this, and the sentence itself doesn't really establish that she's smiling. It could be read as flat, so... It's too ambiguous, so hey, clarification's fine. His glare finally... Also, the fact that you're using said, holy shit, did you avoid the Tumblrites who tell you that said is a bad word? Because it's not a bad word. It's great for these interludes. Or just establishing speakers. Clarity and structure over being a pedantic bastard. Jeez. Pierre finally broke from bearing down on me to look at his wife. He seemed rather chip about the whole situation. I had to imagine... She was imagining some outcome where we reveal Fang and everything is magically better. Looking at the man, however, it was hard to imagine that things would be that easy. I wanted to check how Fang was doing with this entire thing, but still I'd been more and more paranoid about slipping up again. Especially in front of a cop. This cop? Who knew what level of deduction powers he had if still of all people could figure it out? We want to play this delicately if we want to get the man in front of us to listen to anything I had to say. Oh, for dinner. Poor Aaron hasn't had much good food to eat, especially after staying in the hospital. You know how hospital food can be, dear. She hummed, a smile slipping in consideration. Even Mr. Aaron sneered a little at the mention of hospital food. I guess hating on that really was a universal constant. Ripley, please. It's been nice to catch up with one of our children's friends. God, I love how she's fucking up so hard. I'm unsure if the man picked up on the subtle pause there, but I sure did, and I'm an idiot. Mrs. Aaron was a nice enough person, but it was wishful thinking that I was the real point of interest in the visit. I was there because it meant Fang was there. Small woman had a daughter back in some capacity, and if it meant having me suffer in her house, it was a price she was willing to pay. I guess that, like... I know that this is going to go south, and I think the reason they're doing that is that making this go nice means Anon has to live here now because, like, they're not letting them just walk off. I mean, I like Ambient number 6, but I like Unity. Ooh, pretty things, yeah! Ooh, mixed signals, okay, let's go back. Man, draw soundtrack so fucking baller. It's like a sick flip, you know? Kickflip. Ollie. 900. She wouldn't want her husband kicking me out so soon. Especially if there was hope that he could be convinced of our new reality too. I don't know. What do you think this reality is going to be, Anon? A lifelong game of telephone? Ugh. You consider for a long silent moment before grumbling. Fine. I would like to point out that, like, you know, you invited Samantha over for, like, a brief thing and quickly revealed things. Ripley is probably in a way more Dunyan Ring situation. I'm just saying that, like, it's probably already, like, annoyed. She clapped her hands together quietly and enjoyed. It's not like clapping quietly. Ugh. It's like smearing your hands together before disappearing back into the kitchen. As Aaron finishes the descent downstairs, nearly collapsed into his recliner with a lumbering thump, only shooting a brief glare my way before turning on the TV and directing his attention to it. What the hell happened to him? Fang whispered, cupping her ear over. She can't hear you, man. You can't hear anything. Sir? I said, getting his attention, or whatever sliver of it he decided to give me. All I got in response was a disinterested grunt. His eyes didn't leave the television because his world ended and he's just waiting to die. Sorry to tell you, Anon. But Samantha was trying because she's used to dealing with the social fallout of things. He probably isn't. May I use the bathroom? A deep grumble rolled out of his chest. I swear I could feel it through the throat. Okay, just staring at him. Just standing and staring at him. Standing here, I'm standing here because I'm standing here because I'm standing here. You know the song. I gestured her to follow. We finally broke her focus. And she began to climb up the stairs with me. Why the fuck is the bathroom upstairs? Don't you have a downstairs bathroom? Ew, gross. Ew. That's so weird if you have guests over. The last thing I needed was for the man not to hear the bathroom door open and close and decide to come investigate. Once inside, I sat down on the toilet lid and let my arms rest on my legs. Fang squatted down in the center of the room, resting on her arms on her knees and chin on her arms. So, by the way, Fang can just poke their head through the floor and, look and take a look at him. So, you can eavesdrop. But here's the part that I think you need to understand. This is kind of weird from a lot of perspectives, right? It's like, oh, my daughter got killed by killing herself and then killing my son, and you're inviting this guy over? What? Did I miss something? Is there an important character detail that I missed? I mean, oh wait, where was I? I mean, we both let out very heavy sighs. I mean, God, he's intimidating as ever, but I muttered, running a hand over my bald head as my train of thought started and ended just as rapidly. It looks like a Holocaust survivor. What the hell? That's a very vivid image to paint, man. I feel like Anon should bring stuff like that on. He seems like the kind of guy who has looked at, dark web shit, you know? I guess your deaths hit him pretty hard. Fang snorted in dismissal, giving me a wave of a hand to compliment. Nah, sir, maybe, but I know him. After everything I fucked up, me being gone is probably a relief. And it's probably, honestly, why would he be okay with you coming back? It's like, oh, great. One of my kids come back, and of course it's the fucked up one. Great. Fantastic. Her words were snippy, but her eyes refused to meet mine. My brow furrowed at a quick rejection, but the image of him when I last saw the man lingered in my head in response to a word. You didn't see him, Fang. When I visited the graveyard, he was out there, standing and staring at your graves. Not both of them. For like an hour in the pouring rain. In the pouring rain. The beak snapped closed and curled into a frown. You can't frown your fucking mouth. Plus, what your mom's... I mean, can you? I don't know where the... Plus, what your mom said about them moments... Okay, fine, I get it. She snapped at me, jerking up to look directly in my eyes. I fucking get it. I slowly nodded, not rising to her tone. My cool response seemed to cause her to catch herself, and she deflated some. Rolling back onto her butt, she curled tighter in on herself. What the hell am I supposed to think? The last thing I remember of that fucker is me screaming at him for more than an hour after I got home from your place. To say nothing of all the times that he yelled at me for some stupid bullshit. Almost everything I can think about him regarding him is him being pissed off at how much of a failure I am. And now what? I'm supposed to feel sad because he's miserable? Fang. Because I do, she hissed, my glare now locked on the wall in front of her, with conflicted anger awash on her face. I feel bad for that son of a bitch. Like you're the only child of his was actually worth it, damn it. I shriveling up like a mushroom. I could go for some mushrooms, actually. And I still hate his insufferable ass. Fang's hands rose up to clasp the sides of her head, splayed fingers across her face, blocking easy view of her eyes. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel. It was a big fucking part of the reason why I was the way I was, why everything turned out the way it did, but he didn't do it. He was just wasting away. If he kicks it, then Mom will be all gone, and if she's all alone, she'll just... Fang's wings curled around her as she buried her head into her knees, her voice falling to the level of a whisper. What the fuck do I do here? I don't know. Your mom was clearly hoping we'd be able to convince him about you somehow, but after that, I'm not sure she has an idea beyond that. I think she just wanted you to come back home. With some soft sniffling from the feathery ball on the ground. Shit, what do we do here? Fang had pushed for contracting her mom. It's honestly gone way better than I, and likely Fang, had expected. But following Mrs. Aaron home here to deal with her husband was not in either of our cards. You keep getting dragged into other people's stuff, Anon. That's your problem. He never liked me in the first place, and Fang was wildly conflicted on the matter, even before having seen his current condition. It wasn't hard to see just how badly he was doing in the wake of everything. That he was even home in the middle of the day probably meant he was on some kind of leave for mourning. Hell, given his physical condition, he was probably on sick leave at this point. Fang was right. No person who's been eating right looked like that. All I knew is that the situation was a mess, and I'd been invited to dinner. Frankly, I was surprised Mr. Aaron allowed it at all. A small huff. Nothing I could do about it now. All I could do was focus on surviving the evening and trying not to make things worse. We could all work out the emotional fallout of this later. We should probably get back out there before he comes kicking the bathroom door down. We've been here for like an hour. Honestly, I'm impressed he hasn't shown up yet. There was a short pause before Fang's wings unfurled and she wiped her palm on her cheek. Yeah, probably. She agreed as she ran her hand over her face, trying to wipe away non-existent tears. I flushed the toilet to make my time hiding out convincing, and then looked down at Fang, pausing only for a moment before reaching a hand out. Anon, wash your damn hands. Fang spotted the gesture and placed her in mine. I thought my arm muscles tense for a beat, but quickly subsided, and Fang pulled herself to her feet against the force. Well, at least that worked. I have to write that down in my notebook when we get home. Damn!